Yes, discover. Hey, how you doing today? This is failure gone fast on broken promises. I left out broken promises because what I told you, I want you to think. And I'm going to place it in there because, listen, we're going through times where people are going to try to distract you. They're going to try to distract your relationship. They're going to just try to distract the personal relationship you have with building yourselves and trying to build for your future, whether you're with somebody or alone. But I can tell you, you can overcome this. I've been going through my parts where I see that failure could have taken place, but I allow myself to train myself. And if you listen to what I said last week, you would take note that I also was able to train myself, and I have to thank a great professor, great in many ways, professionally and so on. But one thing he let us know as students when we first enter into class was that there's this thing that's called scrotoma. And you remember you're in the house, you left your keys, you left your school book there, you left your girlfriend there, your boyfriend there. Where are they? And you know you dropped them off on this block. This block looks familiar, but there's something that's blocking it. And it's natural for a person to go through it because it's a natural thing that happens. And once we learned that as students, we was not afraid to continue to move on, to continue to know, oh, I left my keys and now I know there's a reason, there's a purpose, there's a lesson behind this. And once we learn that, all of a sudden you don't lose your keys no more because now you know. And once that blockage is known, it's out of your way. There's no way I can lose my keys again because I know the keys are there. I left it there, but something is blocking it. Then you go back and say, oh, here it goes. Oh, that's the block I left her or him on, you know. So I want you to take note to this because this is going to allow you to move forward. It allowed me to move forward. It allowed me to see when people or things may try to be an obstacle and how I get rid of that obstacle. And you can once you know, once the knowledge is there. Now, failure gone fast, I talked about couples first, but I'm going to go on a relationship with yourself. And that is self-empowering yourself to be better than what expectations are of yourself. And that's only because we can get better, we can do better, but sometimes that blockage gets in the way. And one thing I want you to concentrate now that you know you can win, and it's just a blockage that's going on because there's so many things I want to accomplish, I'm accomplishing it, but yet there's a blockage there, and that blockage only takes place because now you settle. You settle that, you're not working on that, but you have to remember. And the only way you can remember is our way that we fashionably do things. We either get stick up paper, or we write something down in a book. Get yourself a composition book, get yourself a journal. And that's what I'm going to recommend today is a journal because I'm going to start a journal also. And the journal is good because you can always go back and retrieve the things you've done of the day and retrieve exactly how you remembered it. So let's get our journals going today. And what I'm going to do is possibly, if I can and I have the time to, because I've been blessed and I try to use my blessings in my videos, and those blessings may come as different tools, different assets. So give myself time And in the link in my description, I'm going to leave you a brief journal. And then I'm going to produce a journal for you. And you may have to pay a percentage for it, or it may be free. Let me see what I can do for you. Let's see how this, failure gone fast, broken promises shall be gone. And I can say that I went through a trial, a tribulation, because I saw that the enemy is very popular. And when the enemy is popular, you'll fight for you standing to accomplish things in competition. When I'm talking about enemy, because we don't have personal enemies. Nobody on my channel do. We don't try to hurt somebody. We don't have envy, and we don't have hate. We have recognition of why people react the way they do. And that's what I want you to get to. Recognition of why people react the way they do, that it affects you. And then you take on a different attitude, because that's what they're trying to get you, to get a different attitude, that you're not going to succeed, that you're not going to what? You're not going to move forward, and that's what they want. But you are learning today in Failure Gone Fast that you possibly, if you allow yourself to overcome. Now, I started to talk how people do things to try to get you out of position of doing what you're doing. And I learned this through other YouTubers, and I pay attention because I try to get my knowledge from somebody who's well advanced, knowing that I am advanced, but I need you to be well advanced for me to advance to that next level. So their level may be above, but those who I'm straying behind, we're not too far behind from what the above is. So you're going to learn that people will try to do things to take your mind off of what you have to do, especially when you're alone. When you're alone, because why? Because you have confidence in yourself. They see you growing. They see that whatever they do, wherever move they continue to make, guess what? You cannot stop me from trying to do what I want to do, because I'm going to do it. So once I've learned that there'll be others that try to get in your way or try to act like they can control your life, and nobody has control over your life but the power above and yourself, or the great universe, whatever you believe in, that brings you forward to doing the things you want to do and accomplish. I have no regrets on my experiences. I appreciate each one because I motivate myself to do what I need to do, no matter what I see around me. And the last test I had, I saw that I was receiving my blessings, but sometimes the enemy is so powerful in uniform that you think I cannot succeed, but you can, because it may be their time to be exposed so that other people can succeed. And that's where you at with Failure Gone Fast. So I tell you to do a journal. Write down what you see, write down what you know, and then you can prove what you see and how you see it, and then there'll be a question to why such things happen. And when I started to see, I started to do things in which I know the enemy was unable to recognize in my movement, in my struggle. And I should not struggle, because there is no struggle, but the struggle was to continue to have the things that you want to have. So I noticed that they were trying to financially, and it's true, when you act jobs and they see you motivated and people see you're doing things, the enemy will try to steal your finance, and that's what the enemy is doing. Stealing your finance so you cannot survive. But you can survive if you have knowledge and the tools and the necessary accesses and the necessary open doors that are there for your survival. Some will be temporary, some will be kind of long term, but you don't want it to be permanent, because the permanent is where you survive. I would be permanent in what I want to do, not what my competition think I deserve, because you know what you deserve. The competition can be beaten, but first you got to control the mind. And that's the first thing going to hit is your mind, your way of thinking. If I don't have my finance and I can't survive, people will lose their mind. Well, how am I going to survive? There's all kinds of ways of survival. And sometimes, like I said, I'm going to teach you how to not even get to the point where you know how to give information without losing what you have to survive. And that's the next step that you have to learn in your journal. In your journal, you're going to write down how I survived. In your journal, you're going to write down what did I see was the obstacle. In your journal, you're going to write down how I survived, what did I see that was the obstacle, and what chances do I have to survive. You want to make it not a 50-50 chance, you want to make it 70 to 30% chance. 30% means I'm knocking the enemy down. 70% means I'm winning. And you're going to have a scare. And I'm going to give you an example of how you can do that in a journal. And then you can make copies of this and place it in one of the binder pads. I got me a binder pad. And I'm not sure if I have it in my book bag, but I will show you my binder pad. And when I picked it up, I was like, wow, I can utilize this. I didn't know what for, but today I'm able to express to you in Failure Going Fast with Broken Promises how I'm going to use this binder, and it's going to help you and I in a way of expressing how we continue to what? To move on. And then you could make this binder a reference binder for your children, for your friends, and for yourself. When you go back, when you see, okay, what was it? Boom. It is a reminder of what it was. And where I could achieve, I know I'm achieving. There's no way I can lose. And once you get your mindset on the no way I can lose, no matter my situation, no matter where I'm at, I got to be above. And it's going to seem like everybody's addressing the situation sooner than you, because their walk is different than yours. Their accomplishments are different than yours. What you want out of life, guess what? What they're doing is different than yours. And you must remember that on Failure Going Fast, especially when you're walking in a what? In a singular, not being with anyone type of situation. And when I started to notice the enemy trying to take everything that I possess and have, I started to calculate and make different moves. And sometimes you got to take risks. And in them risks, if you should ever be questioned on your risks, you have a binder that can expose the enemy, and the enemy doesn't want to be exposed. So you would not have to worry about touching that binder at all. Trust me, you do not have to worry about it, because the enemy do not want to be exposed. Because the enemy has everybody over there, and they're slowly coming over and recognizing you. And in that, I want to say that you have to take great strides in making life a reality. And that's what I did. I took chances. What I know what I was doing was legal. There was no question to it. The only question is overcoming my enemy that was putting me in position. That was acting like they're not putting you in position, but they were, because it could be nobody else but you, because you're gaining above where I want to be. Do you understand? So in that knowledge, you begin to move forward and you begin to make certain decisions. And as I took risks and as I also communicated, people started to recognize what I was talking about. And some people will feel a need of helping you because they know they're wrong. They know that you should be given the opportunity because they were given the opportunity. But sometimes people forget where they came from and how they grew. And when people start to recognize, you'll start to have people looking towards the people who are trying to take away from you. And then these same people will be the same people who's going to open doors to help you. So there was one thing that I knew once I recognized what they were doing that I had to do to overcome what they were trying to make me look like I can't accomplish, I don't know, or I'm lower position, that the reason why I don't have because I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm not. But you would think so just because what? Just because I don't have. Oh, she must be spending her money on this, or he must be spending his money on that, because they're losing everything, and it has nothing to do with that. If they take your finances away and you have no finance, you're going to lose it. Word of mouth. Well, I told you, word of mouth could be good and word of mouth could be bad. And failure gone fast on broken promises. What you're going to begin to realize that you have to start breaking down the things that you see that are making these people make promises to people that are breaking the promises that are offered to you. I promise you, you're going to receive this. I promise you this. And what God said, you're going to receive that. But your enemy will do everything to make you not receive it, to make them think you're not doing anything, but you know you're working hard. And what the enemy hates to see is that they don't see the work. They don't see the work you do. They don't see the input. Because when they see people struggle, that's all they see. Oh, you're struggling, you must be putting in work. But when you are in alignment, and when you are experienced, and when you're to the point where you educate yourself, you don't have to see the work. The work is put in the things I do, the contacts I make. And you will never see the work because I know where to go to get and to receive what is legit on what I do. And sometimes I got to explain why I'm doing this so you can see how legit it is. But you will open the door and further emphasize on why this is happening or why you're blessing me. You're blessing me because you already know. If you don't bless me to explain why this is happening, why I have to do this, why you have to bless me, because you know there's nothing wrong in what I'm doing. It's just the enemy know what they're doing to stop your finances. At least they think they're stopping your finances. They're not stopping your finances. What they're doing is allowing you to find other ways to open up your finances. Do you understand that? And once you find other ways to open up your finances, guess what? There's nothing they can do to stop you. And that's what I want you to recognize on Failure Gone Fast. Now we're going to, if you're single and if you're in a relationship, it's not all about just going out. It's about educating ourselves. It's about knowing why and how the family survived. You could take the same journal and pass it on to somebody else. Pass it on to your children. And your children will be able to recognize their obstacles when they go to school, their competition when they go to school, why they have to go to that teacher and not that teacher, because that teacher don't understand what that teacher understands about them. That teacher do not see what that teacher sees in them. That professor do not see what that professor over there sees in you. And sometimes, most of the time, you will learn is a personal vendetta that they have. And that's not you. Why should I grow on your personal vendetta about how you feel about me? Or my children? Or my relationship and the things I do to be related to certain people? And when you establish this, you're going to see yourself moving in different directions. You're going to see your inner side of you leaving, and the people that you're leaving behind, even if you're in a relationship, and that's where I'm getting now, because most relationships do grow to the point that you and your partner no longer hang with this individual and their partner, but you may grow in a different direction. Why? Because now I have the tools and the assets that allow me to grow, to break certain promises that we, generational curses that happened in the past. We just hang with this organization. We don't know how to hang with that organization. But we're trying to get to that organization, but we're always with this organization. Do you understand? So your inner you, your inner means, like I'm feeling now, and in the past has taken me to a different place, that you begin to realize I cannot take this person with me or this partner with me because they're not thinking like me. They're not thinking like I. They're not thinking like we. So you or the partner, you and your partner will have to address certain situations and sit down and ask yourself, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be? Do I still want to be here? And I'm going to allow these people to keep me down in the dumps, because we always go up. We don't stay there. We go up. And in that knowledge of going up, you begin to make changes and you begin to open up certain doors. You begin to walk in doors and walk in places. And these people, you will see, will try to push you quickly out of your place, but you have to be firm to be there where you at, because this is where I'm going to receive the knowledge to move me on to what? The next place. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to the next place. And as you begin to learn your partner, to write these things down in your journal, how I survive, do you understand? And you want to begin to know that not how I survived, but what made me survive, and that percentage where I'm at in survival. The percentage will allow you to think. Because when I think of percent, if I think of 50%, that's quickly. I'm halfway through. That's too quick. We don't want to go there. We want to work. We don't mind throwing a hard math problem in there. So your percentage is going to be higher, and you will have to prove your percentage. If I say 60%, what makes you think you're at 60%? What makes you think you're at 70%? What makes you think you're at 80%, 90%? And then when you get 100%, you're where you need to be. So on this failure gone fast, it's a different message and it's a different phase. And as I begin to see, and people begin to see, we quietly communicate. You don't have to be around the people who's helping you, because the people who's trying to take you down is there. But there'll be a way of communication that you would not understand and you would not believe. You wouldn't even have to open your mouth. Do you understand? And that's going to allow you to get to where you need to be. And when I got to where I need to be, I was able to observe. There was other people observing. And when I achieved, and what they were trying to take away from me, they could not take away from me any longer, because I have achieved. And they see the enemy, and the enemy will begin to lose the blessings that they have, the blessings that they're trying to take away from you. And then when you see people, you're in a place and people don't receive, they're not receiving anymore, because now I see you are not being honest. You are trying to do things to make this person get less than what you're getting, but this person never had a vendetta against you, but you have a vendetta. Either they're being paid off or laid off. And you don't go for the payoff, but you may have been laid off, but you was laid off because why? Because the enemy tried everything to keep you from getting what? Your finances and your mind at a stable set. And once you recognize that and learn how to concentrate on thinking, because you can't do it. You got to keep your mind intact. The mind is very important. And this is how I was able to overcome the enemy and achieve. And I may have not achieved at the level that you think, but I did achieve what I was supposed to achieve. And I'm talking about materialistic wise. I'm talking about living arrangements wise. But the enemy was at the attack. And even though it may seem that you're losing, you're winning, because now I got different doors. I got different ways of making financial matters. And if I hang in there and not give up and keep learning and receiving the tools and the assets to get where we need to be as a couple in this relationship, continue to write down our journal, where we want to be with our journal, recognizing our percentage of where we at. So as you can see, we're not failure gone fast before where we just talking. Now we're doing. And we're bringing our minds to it. And then we can have reference to where and how we did it. So if I have to tell somebody, I can open my journal and express that, because that's where we are now. So this is what I want to tell you. Don't matter the journey, no matter how it looks. Know that you are overcoming, because the minute you sit down is when you lose. And we can't have that. Go out there, be as discover, and stop everything the enemy is trying to do, so you won't be the one that won't be able to one day say, failure gone fast.